Incredible transformation. Millionaire's baby stopped crying after 5 words from a caring stranger. Emma Thompson's heart raced as she navigated through the bustling farmer's market. The sun splashed golden hues across the sky, illuminating the vibrant stalls filled with fresh produce and handmade goods. But in her arms, little Lily wailed like a tiny siren, sending waves of panic crashing over Emma. She could feel the weight of the world pressing down on her bills stacked high, late fees looming, and the sound of her daughter's cries ringing in her ears. "Just 5 minutes," Emma whispered to herself, trying to summon all the strength she had left. They needed fresh vegetables to stretch the next few meals. But oh, her baby. The judgmental glances from nearby vendors felt like an avalanche, burying her in shame. Little Lily squirmed restlessly, her face flushed and tears streaming down her cheeks. Emma rocked her gently, whispering, "It's okay, sweetheart. It's okay." But those soothing words felt like a fragile band-aid on a gaping wound. Then, like a breath of fresh air, he appeared. Lucas Bennett, the millionaire new to town, strode through the market with an air of confidence that caught Emma by surprise. Dressed in a crisp button-up and jeans, his polished demeanor felt out of place amidst the vibrant chaos of the market. And yet, when his gaze landed on Emma, something changed. Compassion flickered in his eyes as he approached, the noise around them fading into an almost serene quiet. "You're doing an amazing job, Mom," he said softly, leaning in closer. It was as if he had plucked the truth from her heart and placed it right back in her hands. Just like that, Lily's cries ceased. The silence that enveloped them blossomed into something monumental. Emma didn't just feel relief. She felt seen. The tension melted away, and hope flickered, a tiny flame igniting in the corners of her heart. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." 1,000 emotions swirled within Emma, colliding joy and gratitude, but also skepticism. How could someone like Lucas Bennett understand her struggle? Their lives seemed worlds apart. Yet, as she looked into his eyes, she began to feel an unexpected connection. Was it possible that beneath his wealth lay a heart willing to reach out, to link with someone who did not share his station in life? With each passing moment they shared, laughter bubbled up between them, the tension morphing into something warmer. But the insecurities loomed heavy. Emma battled her pride against the stark reality of needing help, and Lucas carried the burden of an aloof reputation. Their lives intertwined in a fragile dance, revealing the deeper scars and hidden strengths that laid bare the strength of community and resilience. Just as they began to understand the beauty of their disparate worlds colliding, a loud, firm knock echoed through Emma's small home, a sound that broke the fragile tranquility they had just begun to build. Emma's eyes widened, a jolt of fear racing through her. Who could that be, demanding attention at such a delicate moment? The weight of uncertainty hung heavily in the air, pulling at her heartstrings as she steadied her breath, bracing for the storm that was about to unfold. The knock came again, more insistent this time, each pound echoing in Emma's chest like a drum of dread. She glanced at Lucas, who maintained a calm composure, raising an eyebrow as if to say he would stay, that she wasn't alone in this moment. Yet Emma felt the shield of uncertainty creeping into her heart. "Just a moment," she called out, her voice slightly shaky as she placed Lily in the comfort of her cradle. Emma took a deep breath, steadying herself against the kitchen counter. The smells of spices from the previous night's dinner still lingered, but today they felt so far removed from the instability hovering just outside her door. With tentative steps, she approached the door. Each footfall felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds. Who could it possibly be? Was it someone she owed money to? Or worse, would it be someone casting the shadow of judgment over her already fragile existence? Finally, she opened the door, and her heart dropped. Standing before her was Sarah, Her former landlord, arms crossed, lips pressed into a thin line. "Emma," she said, her tone chilling. "We need to talk." Now?" Emma stammered, glancing back at Lucas, who had stepped closer, concern etched on his face. "Yes, now," Sarah replied sharply, stepping into the entryway as if she had every right to be there. "I can't keep waiting for rent to come in. You said it would be here on the 5th. Emma felt her throat go dry. She had promised that payment, but the uncertainty of her income had turned into a daily gamble. "What's going on?" Lucas interjected, his presence a solid wall against the rising tide of panic. Emma turned to him, warmth battling the cold fear in her belly. "It's just a misunderstanding." "A misunderstanding?" Sarah scoffed. "You think ignoring your debts is a misunderstanding?" "We're managing, I promise," Emma said, voice wavering slightly. Lucas stepped beside her, lowering his voice to a soothing tone. "I can help." The offer hung heavy in the air, weighted by the gravity of their burgeoning connection. Emma's heart raced with embarrassment and confusion. Stripped bare, she felt the sharp edges of her situation, a moment where pride could either fracture or evolve. Was she ready to accept help from someone like Lucas, a man she barely knew? "I don't want to be a burden," she whispered, almost to herself. Sarah rolled her eyes, emphasizing her impatience. "This isn't about being a burden. It's about reality. Either pay up or I'll have no choice but to start eviction proceedings." The sound of Lily cooing softly wafted in, a reminder of all that she was fighting for. A piece of her heart begged to reach out for support, while another battled the fear of losing what little stability she had left. As Sarah shifted impatiently, Lucas's gaze locked onto Emma, as if silently urging her to reconsider. Emma felt panic rising. She had always been the one to handle her responsibilities alone, but the burden of solitude felt suffocating. Lucas's presence made her want to leap beyond her comfort zone. But how far would she dare to go? "Can we talk privately?" Emma finally asked, addressing Sarah, but her eyes searched Lucas's, seeking strength. Sarah huffed, crossing her arms tighter. "Fine, but you have until the end of the month." "Thank you," Emma replied quietly, relief flooding in. She stepped aside to let Sarah pass, but her heart tangled in thoughts. What had just happened? As Sarah made her way into the dim living room, Emma felt the air thicken with urgency. Lucas turned to her, his eyes filled with concern, and she wondered if this would be a turning point for both of them. "Emma," he said, "we need to figure this out. Together." She felt the pulse of possibility beating steadily in her chest, but the challenges ahead loomed larger than she could imagine. Could she truly open up to him, not just for her own sake but for Lily's too? The question lingered, heavy and unresolved, waiting to be explored. The world outside her door felt daunting, but within the fragile sanctuary of her home, the threads of hope began to weave stronger patterns. What lay ahead remained uncertain, but for the first time, Emma felt the winds of change whispering in her ears. Sarah settled onto the couch, crossing her arms tighter, as if it were a protective shield against Emma's mounting anxiety. The room felt charged with tension, a fragile space where each second stretched long and heavy. Emma dared a glance at Lucas, seeking reassurance. He inclined his head slightly, a silent promise that he wouldn't let her face this alone. "As I said, you're late on your rent," Sarah said, her voice sharp and demanding. "I can't keep waiting. You need to figure something out." Emma swallowed hard, the lump in her throat making it difficult to articulate the storm brewing inside her. "I'm trying, Sarah. Every day is a struggle. But I'm not asking for a favor." Sarah snorted, unfazed. "That's exactly what you're doing. And I'm not running a charity here." The words hit Emma like a slap. "I know that. I just need a little more time." She fought to keep her tone steady, knowing well that losing control would only emphasize her vulnerability. "Just a few days. Promise." Lucas stepped forward, shoulders squared, ready to confront the woman who had ruled Emma's life like a cold overseer for too long. "Is there any way you can extend her deadline?" His voice was calm but resolute, cutting through the tension. Sarah lifted her chin, a challenge in her eyes. It's not just about her. My bills don't wait. And what would your suggestion be? Just let her live here for free. Lucas's gaze shifted to Emma, where she stood like a deer caught in headlights. No, but maybe you could work out a payment plan? A small amount to start with, something manageable? Emma's heart sank. She was already teetering on the edge, and the thought of revealing her financial situation in front of this woman felt like exposing her soul. I can find a way to pay, she said weakly, but as the words slipped out, she felt the weight of truth. She needed support, but accepting it felt so daunting. That's rich coming from someone still living in denial. Sarah leaned back, her critical eyes scanning the room as if to say those who had fallen could never rise again. The air felt thick with despair, but then Lucas reached toward Emma. His palm brushed against hers, comforting and warm. You're doing your best, Emma. That counts for something. Feeling the surge of determination force its way through the cracks of her anxiety, Emma finally met Sarah's gaze. Listen, I can't promise you everything right now, but I will catch up. I swear it. Just give me some grace. Grace? Sarah echoed, rolling her eyes. You think grace pays the bills? Maybe it's not about money, Lucas said softly, redirecting the conversation. Perhaps it's about understanding, compassion. She's a single mom trying to make it work. Emma watched as a flicker of surprise crossed Sarah's face at Lucas's unexpected support. Compassion doesn't get the rent paid, Sarah said tersely, but Emma could sense her walls beginning to crack under the unexpected pressure. We live in a world that demands humanity. You know that, Lucas replied, his voice steady. Just look at the child in the cradle. This isn't just about Emma. It's about her daughter's future. Emma held her breath, hoping that Sarah would see the truth, to who Lily would grow up to be. She felt the delicate thread of a bond beginning to form, knitting them together in a shared resolve. Let us say I do give you another chance. Sarah finally relented, her eyes narrowing skeptically. What can you offer by the end of the week? Something, anything, Emma hurriedly offered, desperation etched in every word. I'll need more than words, Emma, Sarah warned. But now there was a glimmer of negotiation rather than outright dismissal. Sarah began to list her demands. The weight of Emma's situation pressed down harder than ever. Lucas squeezed her hand tighter, anchoring her amidst the chaos. The minutes turned to an uncomfortable standoff, but Emma felt a flicker of something new. For the first time, she didn't feel completely alone. The possibility of support, a hand to hold through the storm, began to light a path before her. What had begun as a desperate plea was transforming. Emma's vision sharpened as determination replaced the fear. Could this be the beginning of a change? As the conversation shifted, a thought pierced through the haze. Accepting help wasn't defeat. It could be the choice that opened new doors. And just as a moment of hope settled, another knock reverberated through the house, interrupting the fragile alliance in the air. Who could it be now? What new challenge awaited? Emma's heart raced, and uncertainty clawed at her once again. The knock echoed again, sharper this time, sending shockwaves through Emma as she jumped slightly. Her gaze bolted to the door, her breath hitching in anticipation. Sarah's eyes narrowed in annoyance. Are you going to get that, or should I? Just a sec, Emma stammered, wiping her sweaty palms on her jeans. She took a steadying breath and moved toward the door, feeling Lucas' South presence close behind her. Whatever was on the other side, she needed to face it just like she had managed to step up to Sarah. When Emma finally turned the knob, the door swung open to reveal a man in his late 30s, dressed in a sharp suit and wearing a friendly smile. His hair was neatly combed, and he held a large, well-wrapped basket filled with what looked like gourmet snacks. Hi, is this the Thompson residence? He asked. A mix of surprise and confusion settled in Emma's stomach. Yes. Can I help you? I'm Timothy. He gestured to the basket. I'm part of a local outreach program. Today, we're delivering gift baskets to families in need, and I'd love to include you. It took a moment for Emma to process what he was saying. A gift? After everything she had just faced with Sarah, the idea of receiving help felt foreign, almost uncomfortable. She glanced back at Sarah, who was now scrutinizing Timothy with a raised eyebrow. Lucas stepped aside slightly to give Emma space to respond. "Thank you, but I'm really not sure if I please take it." Timothy interjected, his smile unwavering. "We provided these baskets because we care. Inside, you'll find some food essentials, but there's also information about resources that can help with rent and other expenses." Hesitant, Emma felt her pride prickle defensively. But when she looked into Timothy's eyes, she saw kindness, compassion wrapped up in that neatly pressed suit. "Fine, okay. Thank you," Emma said slowly, reaching out to accept the basket. The moment it touched her hands, the weight of it felt symbolic, as if it were adding more than just food or goods. It brought with it a reminder that help could come from unexpected places. As Timothy stepped back to let her close the door, Lucas squeezed her arm lightly, his warmth creating a comforting bubble around them. "See? It's not all bad. Sometimes the universe sends help when we really need it." Emma smiled faintly, feeling her heart begin to thaw a little more. She tore her gaze away from the door, focused again on Sarah, whose expression had turned from skepticism to surprise. "Well," Sarah started, her tone edged, "I suppose that's a nice gesture. But it doesn't solve your problem." A surge of hope welled up in Emma. "Actually, it might," she said, her voice steadier than before. "There's information in this basket. And if they can help with this month, that buys me time to get back on my feet. To really prove I can do this." Frustration flared on Sarah's face, but Emma continued, fueled by the belief that finally, someone was seeing her struggle. No longer just a tenant begging for mercy, but a woman reclaiming her narrative. The tension in the room shifted again, but before anyone could digest this new development, Emma heard a rustling from inside the basket. "And it looks like Lily is awake," Lucas chirped, pointing to the sound of soft coos reverberating from the cradle. Emma rushed to peek, her heart swelling as she saw Lily's small limbs kicking excitedly, her blue eyes sparkling under the morning light. "Just look at that smile," Emma said, grinning as she reached a hand out to lift her daughter. "Maybe she knows things are changing," Lucas added, his voice light. Then, as if the room had been holding its breath, a loud crash from the kitchen made them all jump. Emma turned quickly, a rush of panic hitting her. "What now?" Emma's pulse quickened as she braced herself for whatever came next. The day's chaos felt like a roller coaster of hope and fear. Could it really be that her luck was turning? She found herself wishing again for the answer to what lay beyond that door. Would this be the moment that changed everything? Emma's heart raced, adrenaline flooding her system. The crash echoed again, sending an urgent signal through every nerve in her body. She shifted Lily to her other hip and glanced over her shoulder at Lucas. His gaze darted toward the kitchen door, anxiety etched on his face. "What was that?" he whispered, tension thrumming in the air. "I don't know," Emma replied, her voice barely above a whisper. She set Lily down gently in the cradle, the soft coos of her baby filling her with a momentary sense of calm. "Stay here," she instructed Lucas, wanting him to keep a safe distance while she assessed the situation. Emma tiptoed toward the kitchen, every creak of the floorboards amplified in her ears. She paused at the threshold, taking a deep breath. The sight before her took her breath away. A stack of dishes lay toppled on the floor, shattering porcelain scattered across the tiles. The culprit? A cat, spry and playful, nonchalantly batting at a dangling dish towel from the counter. Its wide eyes met Emma's, curiosity glinting in them. Emma snorted a laugh, letting the tension dissipate for a moment. "Really?" she muttered, shaking her head in disbelief. Of all things, the little intrusion served as a swift reminder that life rarely played out as expected. She bent down to begin collecting the shards when a sudden memory of the gift basket jolted her from her task. What if she whispered to herself? She dashed back to the living room, where stillness hung like fog. She grabbed the basket and rummaged through the items until her fingers landed on a brochure labeled Community Assistance Program. With renewed vigor, Emma returned to the kitchen, heartbeat steadying. If resources existed to help her, maybe she could navigate through this like that cat effortlessly weaving through chaos. She set the basket down on the counter and straightened, looking at the dishes scattered around her. Lucas entered the kitchen cautiously, peering over her shoulder. What happened? His brow furrowed, sensing the change in atmosphere. I think I might have a plan, Emma replied, glancing at the brochure, determination igniting within her. This isn't just about surviving. It's about thriving. I need to reach out, see what they can offer. Are you sure? Lucas asked, concern lacing his words. You know, it means digging into everything, putting everything on the table. I know. But I also know that I can't keep living in fear. Maybe it's time to take a leap, Emma said, a fire casting light in her eyes. She looked back at Lily, content now, playing with a rattle. I want to show her that we can overcome anything. A heavy silence lingered as Lucas considered her words. You're right. And besides, I'm here. Okay? Whatever you need. Emma's throat tightened. She loved how supportive he was, even in moments so vulnerable. Thank you, she whispered, the bond between them stronger than any fear as they started cleaning up the mess. Lily's tiny giggles mingled with the sound of breaking glass as the cat darted through the room again. Emma stole a glance at her daughter, finding comfort in her innocent joy. Maybe this little distraction was just what she needed, a reminder that laughter could still exist amidst the chaos. Suddenly, a knock at the door broke the moment, firm and demanding. Emma froze, her heart racing once more. Now what? She thought, feeling the weight of uncertainty settle back over her. Lucas glanced at her, a question in his eyes. Should I get it? No, let me. The earlier shift in her mood faded somewhat, replaced by apprehension. Could be someone else with help or trouble. Steeling herself, Emma made her way to the door. The sound of the knocking echoed ominously in her mind. Is this going to be another chance or another challenge? She wondered, gripping the doorknob tightly as she took a deep breath and opened it. What awaited her on the other side could change everything. Would it be a step toward a solution or yet another obstacle in her path? The door creaked open slowly, and Emma's breath caught in her throat. Standing before her was a woman, impeccably dressed in a tailored jacket and designer jeans. Her blonde hair cascaded over her shoulders, and she held a clipboard, a stark contrast to the chaos behind Emma in the kitchen. Good afternoon, the woman said, flashing a professional smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. I'm Sarah with the Community Assistance Program. For a moment, Emma felt suspended in the air, the weight of her decision to reach out for help hanging over her. Yes, I saw the brochure, Emma stammered, trying to gauge the woman's intentions. Wonderful. I'm here to offer support and resources, Sarah replied, stepping inside without waiting for an invitation. Her eyes scanned the room, lingering briefly on the mess caused by the playful cat. Emma ushered her further in, a sense of nerves bubbling in her stomach. I wasn't sure if I needed help, but Sarah cut her off. The truth is, many people in your situation feel that way. She jotted something down on her clipboard. It's commendable that you reached out. It can be hard to admit when you need assistance, but that's the first step. A flicker of hope ignited within Emma, but it was quickly weighed down by skepticism. What if I'm not ready for this? What if I expose my life to someone and it doesn't go well? Every journey begins with uncertainty, Sarah said gently, her tone surprisingly warm. You won't be alone in this. I'm here to help you navigate the options, to build a plan that's right for you and Lily. Lily's soft coos echoed in the backdrop, pulling Emma's focus back to her daughter. She watched her sweetheart play, blissfully unaware of the dependency and worry swirling around her mother. Emma inhaled deeply, her heart pounding as she contemplated the potential of what lay ahead. She could feel the embers of courage reigniting. Okay, she said, her voice more resolute now. Let us do this. Great, Sarah beamed, leaning forward. I want to make sure you have everything you need, a stable home, resources for childcare, financial assistance, whatever it takes. Emma nodded, trying to wrap her mind around the implications. But what's the catch? There has to be something, right? No catch, just a common goal, Sarah replied, her words unwavering. We want to empower you, help you find your footing. This isn't about judgment. It's about lifting each other up. Lucas shifted nervously beside Emma, concern flickering across his face. What else do we need to know? He asked, the protective instinct surfacing. Emma felt encouraged by his support as Sarah began to outline the next steps. With each passing minute, the fear that gripped her began to loosen. But deep down, an unshakable doubt lingered, gnawing at the edges of her newfound hope. She looked at Sarah, wanting to trust her but fearful of being let down as details flowed from Sarah's mouth. Emma's thoughts drifted back to the staircase of shadows that had led her here. Would this leap of faith bring salvation, or would it be another misstep in a dance with destiny? Just then, the cat leapt onto the counter, knocking over another mug, shattering it on impact. Emma's heart raced again, the chaos reigniting the worries swirling in her mind. What if? She began to think but stopped herself. Emma? Lucas's voice pulled her back. Are you okay? Yeah, she said, but uncertainty clouded her response. Once again, the cycle of fear and hope wove through her heart. Could she trust this moment, even with all its unpredictable turns? The silence in the room thickened as they exchanged glances, the tension palpable. It felt as if they stood at the edge of a cliff, a leap of faith necessary to chase new beginnings, but what awaited them on the other side? Emma's eyes darted to the door, suddenly feeling the weight of every choice she had yet to make. What if we're asking for help in the wrong way? She thought, her mind racing. The promise of transformation flickered in the air, but uncertainty loomed just as large. Would this program be a light, guiding them forward, or another false dawn? Taking a deep breath, she knew something had to change. But what came next? Would she be able to grasp the thin threads of hope while balancing on the precipice of her fears? The answer lingered in the room, just out of reach, as the fragile moment hung suspended in time. Emma watched Sarah as she spoke, her trained eyes missing nothing. Every movement, every word felt carefully crafted. Stable home, financial assistance, she murmured, as if each phrase dripped with promises she longed to believe. But behind that polished veneer, Emma sensed hidden depths, perhaps even hidden costs. Lily's laughter sliced through the tension, a joyful reminder of what truly mattered. As the tiny girl bounced around, the darkness that loomed felt a shade lighter. Maybe, just maybe, Emma thought. Yet a tiny voice inside her whispered that trusting someone else could lead to more pain. Emma, let us start by discussing your immediate concerns, Sarah suggested, interrupting the torrent of Emma's thoughts. What do you feel is the biggest challenge right now? Everything, Emma replied honestly, her voice thicker than she intended. I just want to make sure Lily is safe and happy. I want to be better. Sarah jotted notes with swift strokes, her focus unwavering. That's a great starting point. We can work together to pinpoint specific challenges: financial stability, job search, childcare, you name it. We have resources available. I don't even know where to begin, Emma admitted, her vulnerability unfurling like a flower. There's strength in admitting that, Sarah said, a gentleness in her tone that surprised Emma. Look, many people need guidance at some point. You don't have to have all the answers right now. Lucas leaned in, his face earnest. What about local programs? Things available for parents like us? Absolutely, Sarah replied. The community is full of programs aimed at aiding families. We'll connect you with reliable ones that fit your needs. I can help enroll you in financial literacy classes, too. Emma's heart raced at the idea. That was a piece she had been missing, someone to show her the way. But part of her felt the sting of doubt. Could she really find her footing, or was she setting herself up for disappointment again? As Sarah detailed the resources available, Emma imagined a path unfolding before her, dotted with small victories: attending a workshop, learning budgeting, securing a steady job. Each step tinged with hope, a chance to build a better life for Lily. But within that flicker of hope lay fears. What if she stumbled again? What if these resources were too far out of reach? The weight of responsibility pressed down on her shoulders like a boulder. Emma, are you with us? Lucas's soft voice broke through her trance. Sarah's welcoming expression met her gaze, and Emma realized how critical this moment was. Yeah, sorry. Emma rubbed her temple, willing her mind to tune back in. I'm here. I want to do this. Acceptance flowed through her like a breath of fresh air. Good. We can create potential timelines together based on your goals, Sarah assured her, an anchor in the storm. Emma felt a slight smile creeping in as the prospect of actual change emerged from the dark fog that had enveloped her life for so long. But as Lucas turned to offer his support, Emma's thoughts spiraled back to doubt. What if I still can't keep promises to myself? What if I fail again? Before she could disentangle her thoughts, the door swung open again, a gust of crisp autumn air swirling through the room, bringing with it an unexpected visitor. A tall man with kind eyes and an approachable energy. Sorry to interrupt, but I couldn't help but overhear. Is this about the community assistance program? Emma felt her heart leap. In that moment, she sensed the shift, the ripple of something bigger than herself beginning to emerge. Yes, Sarah replied, standing straighter. We were just discussing how we can support Emma and her daughter. Perfect timing. The man grinned, stepping further into the living room. There's something you should know about these programs and they might change everything. Emma's heart raced once more. What did he mean? What transformative news did this stranger hold? As the tension in the room heightened, she felt an urge to lean in, to reach for a glimmer of hope. Could this be the moment that changes everything, a catalyst for the fresh start she so desperately craved? The man took a step closer, his presence filling the room with an eager warmth. My name is David, he said, looking around at the three of them with a spark of enthusiasm in his eyes. I'm a coordinator with the Community Assistance Program. We've had some amazing success stories lately, and yours could be the next. Emma felt a flutter in her chest, a mix of anxiety and curiosity. What kind of success stories? She asked cautiously, her fingers fidgeting with the edge of her sleeve. Families who turned their lives around financial stability, better job opportunities, stronger community ties, David replied, his voice steady and encouraging. We don't just connect people with resources. We stay with them every step of the way. It's about empowerment. Empowerment, Emma echoed, tasting the word as if it might be something sweeter than her reality. Could this be what she longed for? Yes. David continued, sensing her intrigue. We provide personalized mentors, workshops tailored to your skills, and even childcare assistance while you attend classes. It's all designed to help you find your footing. And but what if I can't? Emma interrupted, her heart pounding. What if I fail? There's a lot at stake here. I can't risk Lily's future, not again. David nodded, his expression serious but compassionate. I get it. No one wants to stumble, especially when it comes to their child. But failure is part of the process. It's about learning, adapting, and trying again. You don't have to navigate this alone. Hearing those words, a rush of emotions washed over Emma. The weight of fear grounded her, but she also felt a flicker of something else, a spark of possibility. Lily giggled in the background, running in circles with a bright smile, blissfully unaware of the stress that clung to her mother like a shadow. Sarah interjected, Emma, this is your opportunity. If you truly want a better life for you and Lily, you need to take the leap. You've already taken a huge step just by being here today. I want to, Emma admitted, more to herself than to anyone else. But can I really trust this program? Trust is built over time, David said softly. What if we start with small commitments? Attend a workshop next week? If it doesn't feel right, you're free to walk away. No obligations. Emma weighed his words, her heart beating louder in her chest. The idea of attending a workshop, reaching out for help, part of her itched at the thought, wanting to leap forward. Yet the nagging voice of doubt whispered to her in the back of her mind, warning her of potential pain. Imagine what it could mean for Lily to see you grow and thrive, Lucas said, his earnest gaze locking onto hers. She needs to see you believe in yourself as much as you believe in her. Emma inhaled deeply, the air thick with potential. And if I take that leap, what if everything really does change? David smiled, making direct eye contact, his confidence urging her forward. When you focus on the moments that matter, transformation becomes possible. Let us make this the start of something incredible. Emma's heart danced between fear and excitement. Could she really begin the journey to reclaiming her life, Her family's happiness? The hesitation in her mind began to fade. Bit by bit as she contemplated that leap of faith, Lily came barreling into the living room, her arms open wide, innocence shining in her eyes. At that moment, Emma realized how her every decision echoed into her daughter's future. "Okay," Emma finally said, her voice steadier than before. "Let us do it," but just then, David's phone buzzed sharply, shattering the fragile moment. He checked it quickly, his expression shifting from joy to urgency. "I'm sorry, but I need to take this call. Can we meet again tomorrow to discuss the next steps?" Emma nodded, her heart racing again. Would she have the courage to face the path ahead? As David hurried out, she turned to Lucas and Sarah. "I can't believe I'm actually thinking about this." Her mind raced with the possibilities, but so did the uncertainties. "Just remember," Sarah said softly, "you're not alone. And every step forward is still a step worth taking." Emma felt those words settle deep within her, offering her a thread of hope. Still, as she and Lucas began to talk, her mind was already racing ahead. What challenges lay ahead? What would be required of her? Would she be strong enough to face the truth of her dreams, or would she crumble under the weight of the unknown? Emma felt the weight of those looming questions create a knot in her stomach as the inkling of her next big moment hung just out of reach. The next day came too quickly, a blur of anxious thoughts and hopeful anticipation swirling in Emma's mind. She paced the small living room, Lily's cheerful laughter providing a sharp contrast to her feelings of uncertainty. Today would decide if she'd finally take that leap or remain in her familiar but suffocating routine. Her phone buzzed, David's name lighting up the screen. Emma's heart raced as she answered. "Hello? Hey, Emma. Excited to see you today. I hope you're ready to take the first step." His enthusiasm radiated through the phone, yet the lump in her throat reminded her of the heavy weight she carried. "Yes, I think so," she replied, forcing the words out. "I've been thinking a lot about everything you said." "Good. We'll meet at the community center around 2. Just remember, it's all about starting small. I promise you it's worth it." With a slight tremor in her hands, she ended the call and turned to Lily, who was busy stacking blocks, completely unaware of her mother's internal battle. "We're gonna try something new today, Lil," she said, her voice shaky yet soft. Would this really change their lives? As the clock ticked closer to 2, Emma's mind filled with questions. A workshop felt like a mounting pressure. What if everyone there was more competent? More assured? Would she be exposed as a failure? When she finally arrived at the community center, the afternoon sun cast warm rays on the brick building, creating a welcoming glow. People bustled in and out, laughter and chatter surrounding her like a nervous embrace. Emma hesitated at the entrance, her breath hitching as she watched families walk together, their strides confident. "Hey, you ready?" Lucas appeared, giving her an encouraging smile. His presence was calming, grounding her swirling emotions. "Yeah, just a little nervous. Totally normal. This is a big step." He placed a reassuring hand on her back, the warmth providing a small wave of comfort. "Let us do this together." Steeling herself, Emma followed him inside. The room was bright and lively, filled with other parents seated in a circle, sharing their stories and aspirations. She felt small yet strangely drawn to the sharing, 30 pairs of eyes that seemed to hold unspoken promises of support. David welcomed her with a warm smile. "Great to see you. We're about to start. Just listen, and if it feels right, you can jump in at any time." As they began, each story flowed like a river. Tales of struggle, triumph, and the bonds they forged offered a direct window into the power of vulnerability. Emma found herself captivated, her heart swelling with both connection and fear. Would her voice carry the same strength? Near the end of the session, Emma's hand twitched, almost rising instinctively as the facilitator encouraged sharing. But the fears flooded her mind. What if her story was too broken? What if they judged her? Yet, as she glanced around, she saw Lucy from the corner, a mother with tear-streaked cheeks, nodding as if she understood every unspoken word. There was a knowing in that gaze, an acknowledgement of shared pain. Courage surged within. Can I say something?" The words escaped, tremulous but determined. The room turned towards her, anticipation buzzing in the air. David beamed encouragement. Absolutely, Emma. This space is for you. Emma inhaled deeply, her heart pounding like a drum. I'm Emma and I'm scared. Scared of failing. But I want to try. I want to believe it's possible to change my life for my daughter. The room fell silent, the gravity of her admission hanging in the air. A hand shot up from the back, a woman with bright orange glasses and an eager smile. We all feel scared sometimes. You're not alone, Emma. A wave of understanding washed over her, nudging the tension from her shoulders. Emma smiled, this time genuine, the fears starting to ebb away. As the workshop continued, Emma joined in the discussions, her voice growing stronger. She shared more about her dreams for Lily, about wanting to be someone who smiled through challenges, not just survived them. Each sentence felt like peeling away a layer of fear. With each shared experience, Emma felt the chains of doubt loosening. Maybe, just maybe, this was the start of something real, not just for her, but for Lily too. As the session came to an end, Emma's heart danced with hope. But just as she thought she could breathe freely, her phone buzzed with a message. When she glanced down, her blood ran cold. It was from her landlord. We need to talk. Rent is due. In that moment, the rush of hope collided violently with the threat of reality. Emma's heart sank, the burden returning, heavier than ever. How could she balance this new step with the growing pressure of her day-to-day struggles? What would she do now? Would she fight for this chance at change? Or would the weight of her situation pull her back into the shadows once more? As Emma stood in the community center, her phone vibrating in her hand, the world around her seemed to blur. The words on the screen echoed in her mind like a relentless drumbeat. We need to talk. Rent is due. The room was filled with supportive voices, uplifting promises, but all she could hear was the impending weight of eviction. Panic surged through her, but amidst that anxiety, a flicker of determination began to spark. She had taken the leap to be here, surrounded by new faces ready to grow together. She couldn't let fear pull her back now. Emma, are you okay? Lucas's soft voice broke through her haze of worry. The concern etched in his eyes steadied her. You were doing so well. The warmth of his presence reminded her of the powerful connection they had forged. Taking a breath, Emma clenched her phone and looked at him. They texted. Rent it's due. Lucas stepped closer. But you just took a major step today. You can figure this out. Together. Emma felt the weight of his words settle over her like a warm blanket. She knew the looming reality wouldn't disappear. But in this shared moment, something else emerged, a sense of community, of battle-ready spirits entwined in hope. Let us talk to David after the session, Lucas suggested. There are resources available. You just need to let him know what you're facing. Yes, that was it. She could reach out, share her current challenges, and ask for the guidance she desperately needed without fear of judgment. As the workshop began to close, Emma's heart soared. Each person's story resonated within her, echoing the struggles, fears, and victories that stitched them all together. When David acknowledged the ongoing challenges many faced even while building new possibilities, Emma felt the knot in her stomach loosen just a bit. There's strength in unity, he said, his voice strong. Reach out, connect, and let us help you navigate. You have already taken the bravest step just by showing up. The closing words rang true, resonating deep inside. She finally knew what she needed to do. After the session, she approached David with a mix of trepidation and hope. I received a message from my landlord today. I really don't know how I can manage it. David's expression softened. Emma, it's okay. Let us take a moment. Together, we'll address your concerns and connect you with people who can provide immediate support. He listened intently as she laid bare her anxieties, not holding back this time. She spoke about her debts, her fears of eviction, but also about her hopes for Lily and the change she envisioned. By the end, she felt a sense of relief wash over her. This moment marked a shift. David nodded, understanding sparkling in his eyes. You are not alone. The community you've connected with today can be your lifeline. Let us get started on a path forward. With each assurance, Emma envisioned possibilities multiplying around her. This was it. Help was arriving in waves, bringing change. With Lucas beside her, she felt empowered to step into this new chapter of her life. That evening, at home, Emma settled on the couch with Lily nestled against her side. The chaotic day had burned away most of her doubts, and she found an anchor in her daughter's soft breathing. Just the sight of those tiny fingers clutching her arm sparked a wave of motivation. "Everything will be all right, sweetheart," she whispered, feeling her heart swell with determination. The journey ahead would be bumpy. Bills still loomed, and fears remained. Yet, she now understood something vital. She could lean on her community and accept help graciously. Days turned into weeks, and as Emma engaged more with the resources from the Community Assistance Program, she felt herself blossom amidst support. She attended workshops, made connections, and shared laughs with other mothers facing similar struggles. Each small victory built upon the last, turning hesitant steps into strides. Even Lucas became a steadfast friend, joining her on this journey. Their bond deepened beyond mere friendship as he provided encouragement that rang true. A reminder that life's challenges could be weathered together. One sunny afternoon, as Emma walked with Lily in the park, her eyes caught the imagery of families enjoying picnics, laughter dancing in the air. Amidst the idyllic scene, she spotted a vendor selling fresh vegetables. Memories of previous market visits felt like echoes of a distant past. She had transformed from a mother battling in isolation to part of a loving community. With a radiant smile, she watched as Lily twirled with joy at the sight of the market, her spirit infectious. Emma felt the warmth of the sun and the laughter of children weave into her heart. The weight of her past struggles began to fade like a whisper in the wind. "Ready to choose some snacks?" Emma asked, her voice playful and light. "Yes," Lily squealed, her eyes bright with excitement as they strolled through the market together. Emma embraced hope like it was a warm hug. She understood the transformative power of community, acceptance, and love. And though shadows of the past lingered, she carried in her heart the promise of new beginnings. Together, they forged a path of resilience, opening doors to futures unknown, their story intertwining with many others. And through it all, Emma had discovered something beautiful. She wasn't merely surviving anymore. She was thriving. And as she watched Lily giggle and reach for fresh fruits, she knew that each step, every moment of vulnerability, had brought her closer to the life she always dreamed of. "Let us keep going, my brave girl," she whispered, her heart swelling with gratitude. This was their journey, a celebration of all that they had become, a mother and daughter thriving in a world brightened by community and love. Now take a moment. If you're inspired by Emma's incredible journey, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel. Don't wait not even one more second to share the story of hope with at least 5 friends who need to hear it. Every like helps feed the algorithm, so leave a like now, and comment below with your thoughts and feelings about Emma's transformation. This is the moment to show your support.